Hello and welcome to Gardening at 58 North. In this video I'm going to be pruning my Ficus Benjamina Bonsai here. So what I've been doing with this Ficus Benjamina is I've allowed it to grow a lot, and the reason for that is I want to thicken up the stems. I also want to thicken up the trunk, and it's worked quite well. You can see here the stem is certainly starting to thicken up nicely, and there's other signs that it's starting to thicken up because you can see on some of the bark it's starting to have some slightly green cracks starting to appear, and that just shows that it's swelling up nicely. So it's doing quite well. It's now late summer, so it's a good time for me to prune it. If I was to wait later in the year and prune it maybe autumn or winter time, because it's so dark here in Scotland, it's not really going to put in any growth and it'll just sit dormant and not do much. So if I was to prune it too early, maybe early summer, then it wouldn't have as much time to thicken up the stems, and so that's why I've decided to prune it this time of year. So looking at it, there's a few large stems I'm definitely going to take out, and then a lot of minor adjustments as well. So the main thing that's happened is a lot of times on Ficus you'll get like a couple of leaders that will try and take off, and that's what's happened here. If I turn it around, you can kind of see better from this angle. There's a big leader at the top here, which if that's taken off, it'll keep a nice kind of weeping appearance to the tree. And also around this other side here, you can see there's this other leader. So you can see once everything from below that line will be kept, everything above I'll take off, and some of these will grow up and replace these in time. But if I was to leave these, then they would take off quite a bit taller, and it would kind of detract from the shape of the tree that I'm going for. I'm going for kind of a small kind of rounded weeping frame, and these ones are just getting too tall and getting away from the overall appearance that I'm going for. So I'll start off with them. So I'll just add, I haven't watered this for a few days, and the reason for that is if you cut a Ficus Benjamina when it's recently watered, you get a lot of sap leaking out and it makes an absolute mess. So I've let this dry out for a few days just so it doesn't have too much sap, but it'll still bleed quite a bit. So the first one we're looking at is this one here. As you can see, there's quite a large section where there's no branching, and then it does branch quite nicely, but as I say, it's just a bit big for what I'm going for. So I'm going to cut this off just about here where this new branch is coming out. You can see I've done a similar hard cut in the past, and it's got a scar there which has actually started to heal up quite nicely recently. So I'll be cutting it just above this side branch. This side branch will get a lot more vigor in it, and it will start growing a lot larger. That will probably become the new leader. So I'll just cut that off now. I've got some fairly substantial secateurs, so it shouldn't be too difficult to cut. And I'm just going to leave a little bit of space, but not too much, because I do want to make sure that it seals over and doesn't leave a strange looking scar. So I'll cut that there. As you can see, my secateur is not quite sharp enough. It has actually ripped the bark, but I'm hoping that should heal over in time. And the other major cut I was going to do is this branch here. So you can see how it's sticking up there. I think I'm just going to cut it off where it sticks up and keep that side bit coming along. But I'm probably just going to leave a little bit of a side branch on it, because I would like some kind of branch to come up from that one. There we are. So as you can see, quite a drastic cut, but that's returned the tree to its original kind of height, it's kind of with its weeping form. And all I want to do now is a bit of minor pruning just to get the shape better, bring in the branches, have it less elongated, because you can see that some of these branches are really long without any branching. Other ones are just getting a bit too vigorous and growing out. So it's going to be a really hard prune, this will be. What this will do is help make the proportions look better, make it look like a more mature tree, an older specimen. And it'll also help me create a lot more branching, which I'll then use to train in any new branches. So I'll just go along now, cut off all the leggy ones and cut off all the ones that I don't want in particular directions. So now I've cut off a lot of the branches and shortened them. What I'm going to do now is any branches, as you can see, has 2 or 3 leaves coming out with any further branching. I'm just going to nip the ends off them. What that will encourage is further back budding further down in the branch, and hopefully that will cause further branching. The more branching I can get, the more like a natural tree it will look, but also the more branched a stem becomes, generally the smaller the leaves are, because the energy from that branch is being shared over 2 or 3 different sections instead of just the one section. there we are, that's all the pruning I'm going to do for today. As you can see, I've taken a huge amount of material off. It's really shrunken the size of the tree. So what it's left me with is a nice framework of branches which I can then further train as they start to grow. As you can see, what I've done for is the main trunk comes up, splits into two, then splits again, and these other branches you can see have several side branches coming off of them, and in the future these will hopefully have several smaller side branches of their own, just so that as the stems go up they get thinner and thinner on the tree and the stems get smaller and smaller with more and more branching. So that's the kind of theme I'm trying to go for. As you can see, this is the main skeleton that I'll probably keep over the years. I may take off one or two branches here and there, as I don't need if there's too many of them, and hopefully quite a few new little side shoots will appear and it'll encourage further branching, which I'll then be able to decide which ones I keep, which ones to take away. So you can see that's the basic structure of the tree. It does look very bare at the moment, and it won't really look like a very nice bonsai for a little while, but once this starts to grow back in, I can then train those new shoots. I can also put wires on them, get them in a nice shape, have them weeping down a bit more, because this is the main structure, but all the little side shoots that come off of this, I'll be wanting to try and curve them down a bit so it weeps a bit better. But that's it for now. I'll give you an update in a few weeks time, and it should put on a lot of growth because I've taken off so much material, and because the roots are really quite healthy at the moment. There's a lot of energy in them. You can see that they're quite looking pretty good. It's been putting on a lot of growth recently. I'm sure that this will put on a huge amount of growth, and it'll do really well, and I'll give you an update in a few weeks time.